Welcome back to Euro Football Daily for our look at 10 Wonderkids that chose the wrong club. It's important to choose your first big club wisely, as these players found out the hard way. Let's go. 10. Fábio Silva. Wolves' decision to hand FC Porto €40 million for Fábio Silva, still their record signing, looks more like a mistake with every passing week the young forward fails to hit the target. Silva arrived at Molineux after just 1 goal and 12 appearances in the Primeira Liga. Not great, but his valuation was based on his performances at youth level, which included 20 goals in 26 appearances for the under-19 side and glory in the 2019-20 UEFA Youth League. To this day, he is still Porto's youngest ever starter. Moving to Wolves wasn't a terrible idea considering their strong Portuguese contingent. But rather than slowly be eased into the action, a long-term injury to Raul Jimenez put responsibility straight onto the teenager's shoulders. His 4 goals and 3 assists in 32 appearances was okay, but a goal conversion rate of just 8% was disastrous for a team that created few chances anyway. This season, Silva has continued to be found wanting. His shots have dropped to below 1, and key passes all but disappeared, and he is still yet to score in all competitions. Now 19, his Wonderkid status is rapidly fading. You can't blame Porto for cashing in, but Silva left the Dragons far too soon. 9. Marc Roca. When Marc Roca signed for Bayern Munich in 2020, he gave himself the daunting task of challenging Leon Goretzka and Joshua Kimmich for a spot in midfield. There was no reason to suggest he wouldn't get a chance though, as Roca had been the shining light for Espanyol despite their relegation from La Liga, ranking among the top 10 players for tackles won, pressures and passes into the final third. £8 million was a snip for one of La Roja's most progressive and talented defensive midfielders. But 2 years on, and Roca has found little joy with the German champions. Although he has missed 11 games with injury, the pure quality of Kimmich and Goretzka has limited him to a mere 6 Bundesliga starts. His first Champions League start also ended in disaster, sent off during a 3-1 win over Red Bull Salzburg. This season the 25-year-old has fallen even further from contention, with Marcel Sabitzer and Jamal Musiala both preferred to him in the middle. According to Transfermarkt, his value has dropped 76% to £6.3 million, a figure that won't improve the longer he stays in Bavaria. Roca has bags of potential, he just needs to find the right club to let him show it. 8. Patrick Roberts. The case of Patrick Roberts will serve as a warning to the next generation against jumping to a big club too soon. The English winger exploded onto the scene back in 2014 when he featured for Fulham in the Premier League. Just 17 at the time, Roberts had shone within the Cottagers' youth system, leading Fulham's famously stern boss Felix Magath to describe him as a major talent. Man City agreed, handing the Whites £12 million to bring the teenager to the Etihad. A successful 2.5-year loan spell with Celtic showed Roberts was on the right path. He scored 18 times across 79 appearances, even netting in a man-of-the-match performance against his parent club in the Champions League. By the time he returned to City in 2018, he had been capped 49 times for England at youth level. But things would only go downhill from there. 5 successive loan spells at clubs from Girona in Spain to Troyes in France slowly eroded Roberts' confidence and value, meaning in January this year he could only secure a 6-month loan deal with League One side Sunderland, once finally freed by City. Now 25, many of his brightest years have gone to waste. 7. Adil Aouchiche. Moving away from PSG in search of game time is usually a successful path, as stars like Christopher Nkunku, Moussa Diaby and Mike Maignan can testify to. For Adil Aouchiche though, his move to Saint Etienne in 2020 looks set to be a career setback, as the 10-time French champions are on course for their first relegation in over 40 years. The 19-year-old did start well, playing the 11th most minutes in the squad last season and registering 2 goals and 5 assists under Claude Puel. This year too he has posted 4 assists in the league, but he's only racked up 880 minutes across 22 appearances, an average of just 40 minutes per game. In fairness, the Frenchman has put in the effort when played, averaging over 25 pressures per 90 under Puel and his successor Pascal Duprat. But Aouchiche has been moved around the pitch, playing everywhere from right wing to deeper in midfield, a shame considering he found a home on the left last season. PSG's second youngest ever goalscorer still has time on his side, but a relegation to Ligue 2 was certainly not in his plans. 6. Guus Til. Taking your first step out of the Eredivisie is never easy. Daniel Marlin took time to settle at Borussia Dortmund, while Myron Boudou and Steven Bergwijn have both struggled on their travels. But above all else, Guus Til looked the most homesick after swapping AZ Alkmaar for Spartak Moscow in 2019. It was quite a coup for the Russians to land Til, after the midfielder shined in the Dutch top flight, scoring 21 and posting 7 assists in 2 seasons, and peaking at an impressive 3.8 shots and key passes per 90. 80 million euros looked like a steal for a future star of the Dutch national side. But Moscow is a world away from Alkmaar, and Til would struggle to show his potential in the Russian capital. Just 2 goals in 1,000 minutes of league action was not what Spartak were hoping for from their record signing, and 1 year later he was sent on loan to Freiburg, where he continued to struggle. However, the 24-year-old is currently dominating on loan at Feyenoord, scoring 21 in all competitions this term. Spartak is still his parent club, but Til will surely be thinking twice before leaving the Netherlands again. Sometimes there is simply no place like home. 5. Xavi Simons. As Nico Gonzalez, Gavi and Ansu Fati thrive at Barcelona, now is the time to be a fresh La Masia graduate, except if your name is Xavi Simons. The Dutchman joined Barcelona back in 2010, aged just 7 years old, and he quickly became a household name as highlights of a tiny but skillful midfielder went viral on social media. Named after the great Barca midfielder and represented by Mino Raiola, Simons was a star in the making. However, after failing to agree a new contract with the Catalans, he switched to PSG in 2019. The Amsterdammer reportedly spent a week crying in his bedroom after his departure became a reality, but was set on getting first-team football as quickly as possible. Considering PSG's track record with youth, it's unsurprising that it hasn't gone to plan. As fast forward 3 years, and the 19-year-old has racked up just 309 senior minutes. After registering 10 goal contributions in the prestigious UEFA Youth League this season, Simons does appear ready for first-team football. And maybe if the teenager stuck it out at Barcelona, he could be thriving alongside Pedri and Frankie de Jong today, instead of being stuck in the reserves at Le Parisien. 4. Calvin Stengs. Guus Til isn't the only star of the AZ Academy who might be regretting his trip away from Alkmaar, as Calvin Stengs has started just 3 games in 2022 since moving to Nice last summer. In his final season in the Netherlands, he contributed to 12 goals and assists while creating 13 big chances, and he moved abroad to Liga at just 22. Nice had ambitions to challenge for the title, which was shown in capturing Lille manager Christophe Galtier, while Stengs joined Amine Gouiri and Justin Kluivert in a team full of young superstars. However, Galtier's Lille was built on a defensive backbone, and his side are averaging the 8th fewest shots per 90 in France. Moving from AZ, who held over 50% of the ball, to a team relatively devoid of chances was a huge transition, and the Dutchman has seen his ball touches per 90 nearly half from last season. That's seen him only score 1 goal in France, and his dribbles collapsed from 2.1 to 0.9 per 90. It's become clear that Stengs should have moved to a team who could feed him more of the ball, instead of one that took it away from him. 3. Callum Hudson-Odoi. Yes, Callum Hudson-Odoi hasn't moved from Chelsea in the 15 years he's been there, but it's the choice not to transfer to long-term Admirers Bayern Munich we are questioning today. In Marc Roca and Omar Richards, Bayern have let youth down, but they have also proved they can plug youngsters into the first team in Jamal Musiala and Alphonso Davies. And as we know, the Bavarians set their eyes on the Cobham prodigy as early as 2019, with the Blues turning down repeated bids including a loan with a £70 million option to buy in late 2020. Since then, Chelsea have added Hakim Ziyech, Romelu Lukaku, Timo Werner and Kai Havertz into the mix for the forward positions, on top of the already established Mount and Pulisic. Combine that with injury woes, and Hudson-Odoi has made just 21 league starts from the beginning of last season. He has topped the squad this year for carries into the box per 90, and those minutes are by no means awful for a 21-year-old. But it's hard to see a clear way into the first team without a big clear-out at Stamford Bridge. Maybe a move to De Rotten, where he was clearly desperately wanted, may have paid off better for Hudson-Odoi. 2. André-Frank Zambo Anguissa. With Napoli just a few points off the top of Serie A, everything is going right for André Zambo Anguissa, who is about to call time on his miserable spell at Fulham. Back in 2018, the then 22-year-old moved from Marseille for £23 million, after averaging 5.5 tackles and interceptions per 90 in Liga the previous season. However, no one could stop Fulham conceding a mammoth 81 goals, as the Cottagers were sent back to the Championship. Anguissa, trapped into a long-term contract, went to Villarreal on loan. The Cameroon international thrived with the Yellow Submarine, leading the squad for successful dribbles at 2.4 per 90, with a success rate of 83%, form that even drew links to Real Madrid. But nothing materialised, and Anguissa returned to Fulham in 2020 for another season battling relegation. Although he played well, standing third in the league for dribbles completed, Fulham went down again. But this time his loan move to Naples included an option to buy. Aged 26, Anguissa is only now getting the chance to play European football and challenge for titles. For such a gifted player, he deserved better than being a luxury that Fulham really couldn't afford. 1. Bryan Gil. The arrival of Antonio Conte at Spurs was always going to spell bad news for Bryan Gil. Signed in the summer for €25 million from Sevilla, in a deal that saw him swapped with Lamela, the Spaniard first grabbed attention with 4 goals and 3 assists on loan at relegated Eibar in 2020-21. There he completed 53 passes into the penalty area and dribbled past 78 players, the 4th most in La Liga. 6 months later though with Spurs, and Gil's game time and productivity had collapsed, with 9 sub-appearances in the league offering little joy for the 21-year-old. Especially after Conte gave him just 30 minutes of action after taking charge in November. Even Nuno told the 5'9" winger to gain some weight, with his numbers on loan at Valencia since January proving why. He has completed just 38% of his dribbles in 2022 and registered just 1 assist under Jose Bordalas across 600 minutes of action. Everyone knows Conte prefers ready-made stars, with his electric front three of Kane, Son and now Dejan Kulusevski tearing up the Premier League. If Gil wants to break that trio, he's going to have to show some serious improvement before returning to London. So that was our rundown of 10 Wonderkids at the wrong club. What did you guys think of the list, and which one made you most sad? Let me know in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed this video, please remember to like it and subscribe to Eurofootball Daily, and I'll catch you next time.